Australia is a world apart, a continent that separated from the rest of the Earth more than 45 million years ago and evolved in solitude. Here, the rules of nature were rewritten. What is harmless elsewhere can kill here. What appears fragile carries the most lethal venom on the planet. This is a territory where beauty and danger share the same body. The sun rises over an expanse of red earth that seems endless. The Australian outback awakens in silence, a deceptive silence. Under every rock, within every crevice, between the dry roots of thorny bushes, something awaits. This is not a continent for the careless. This is not a place where distraction is forgiven. Australia occupies almost 8 million square kilometers. It is the 6th largest country on the planet, and yet the most isolated. Surrounded by oceans in all directions, this territory developed life forms that exist nowhere else. Geographic isolation was a laboratory. Evolution, a patient force that worked through entire geological eras. The result is a catalogue of creatures that defy the logic of other ecosystems. Here dwell 21 of the 25 most venomous reptiles in the world. Coastal waters harbor jellyfish, whose venom can stop the human heart in minutes. Beaches hide octopuses the size of a golf ball, capable of killing 20 adult men with a single bite. Tropical forests conceal spiders, whose venom can trigger internal hemorrhaging. And in the rivers, saltwater crocodiles patrol as they have done since the age of dinosaurs. But venom is not revenge. It is not cruelty, it is strategy. In a continent where water is scarce and distances are immense, efficiency is everything. Chasing prey requires energy. Fighting a predator can mean fatal wounds. Venom solves both problems. A single precise strike, a single bite. The prey falls. The attacker flees. Millions of years of trial and error condensed into glands, fangs, and spines that never fail. Dawn reveals the first silhouettes in motion. A frilled lizard emerges from its nocturnal refuge, deploying its membrane like a threatening umbrella. It is not venomous, but its intimidation theater works. In Australia, even the harmless have learned to appear dangerous. Survival demands masks. Beyond, where the red earth begins to mix with spinifex scrubland, a shadow glides. It is long, it is silent, and it is the first protagonist of this story of venom and survival. The inland taipan does not seek conflict. It prefers the solitude of semi-arid plains, where rats are abundant and humans scarce. Its olive-brown coloration camouflages it perfectly against the cracked soil. At first glance, it seems like a common snake, but nothing in Australia is what it seems. The venom of the inland taipan is the most toxic ever recorded in a terrestrial snake. A single bite contains enough toxin to kill 100 adult men. Its fangs can penetrate up to 12 millimeters into flesh. And it strikes with a speed the human eye can barely follow. Strike, inject, retreat, all in less than a second. Yet this snake rarely bites people. Its venom did not evolve to defend against humans, it evolved to hunt rodents. The rats of the Australian desert are fast, nervous, unpredictable. A common snake might bite them and lose them as they flee, dying far away, wasting the food. The taipan cannot afford that luxury. In an environment where every calorie counts, its venom guarantees almost instantaneous death. The prey has no time to escape. Efficiency converted into biology. The sun continues its ascent and the temperature begins to climb. In a few hours, the ground will reach levels that would burn exposed skin. The taipan knows this. It retreats toward the cool crevices of the terrain, where it will spend the hottest hours motionless, conserving energy. It will hunt again when the sun descends, when the rats emerge, when silent death is hungry again. But the inland taipan is not alone in this hierarchy of venom. Hundreds of kilometers toward the east coast, in the humid forests of Queensland, another snake claims its place. The coastal taipan is slightly less toxic than its inland cousin, but significantly more aggressive. While the inland taipan flees from human presence, the coastal one can attack without apparent provocation. Its unpredictable temperament makes it responsible for more deaths than any other Australian snake. Its body can reach 3 meters in length. Its rectangular head houses venom glands the size of almonds. When it feels threatened, it raises the front third of its body from the ground, forming a pronounced S that allows it to lunge forward with devastating reach. It does not emit warning sounds like American rattlesnakes. It does not display hoods like Asian cobras. It simply attacks. The venom of the coastal taipan contains a mixture of neurotoxins and coagulants that attack the nervous system and blood simultaneously. Victims first experience tingling and nausea, then difficulty breathing, then internal hemorrhaging as the blood loses its ability to clot. Without antivenom, death can arrive in less than an hour. Australia developed the world's first polyvalent antivenom precisely out of necessity. When your territory harbors so many lethal species, medicine must adapt or the population succumbs. Today, deaths from snakebite are rare thanks to these advances. But the respect remains. It must remain. Venom does not forgive arrogance. While the coastal taipan dominates the tropical forests, another reptile rules the prairies and scrublands of the south. The eastern brown snake is responsible for more than 60% of snakebite deaths in Australia. Not because it is the most venomous, but because it is the most common near human settlements. This species has demonstrated remarkable adaptability. While other snakes flee from civilization, the brown follows it. Where there are humans, there are barns. Where there are barns, there are mice. Where there are mice, there are brown snakes. It is an opportunistic predator that has turned our presence into an advantage. The sun reaches its zenith over the outback. The heat distorts the horizon, creating mirages of water that will never exist. The snakes rest in their underground refuges. Lizards seek scarce shade. Even insects reduce their activity. Australia imposes a truce at midday, a pause in the constant battle for survival. But this truce is only terrestrial. Beneath the waves, in the warm waters surrounding the continent, there is no rest and there is no mercy. Australian oceans harbor creatures whose venom rivals that of any terrestrial snake. Creatures that have perfected the art of killing in a medium where fleeing is infinitely easier. Marine venom requires a different potency, extreme efficiency, and Australia has exactly that. The waters surrounding Australia offer no refuge. If the land is dangerous, the sea is merciless. Here, where coral reefs extend for more than 2,300 kilometers, venom adopted forms that defy imagination. Transparent creatures that can stop a heart, fish that look like rocks until the fatal moment, beautiful mollusks that hide microscopic harpoons loaded with death. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest living organism on the planet, an ecosystem so vast it can be seen from space. Its crystalline waters harbor more than 1,500 fish species, 400 coral species, and a biological diversity that rivals tropical rainforests. It is a visual paradise, a festival of colors and forms that attracts millions of visitors each year. It is also one of the most dangerous places to swim without knowledge. The Australian box jellyfish does not appear threatening. Its body is almost completely transparent, a bell the size of a basketball that pulses softly among the waves. Its tentacles can extend up to 3 meters, delicate filaments that wave with the currents like silk ribbons. Absolute beauty, absolute danger. Each tentacle is covered by millions of cells called cnidocytes. Each cnidocyte contains a small coiled harpoon, bathed in one of the most toxic substances known to science. When something brushes against a tentacle, the harpoons fire in microseconds, penetrating the skin and injecting venom directly into the bloodstream. The pain is immediate, unbearable. Victims describe a sensation of liquid fire running through their veins. Many go into shock from the pure pain before the venom even begins its real work. Because the venom of the box jellyfish is not content to cause agony, it simultaneously attacks the heart, the nervous system, and the skin. The heart can stop in less than 5 minutes. This jellyfish has killed more people in Australia than sharks, crocodiles, and snakes combined. And yet, it is not a predator of humans. Its venom evolved to instantly paralyze the small fish and shrimp that constitute its diet. A fish that struggles can damage the delicate tentacles. A fish paralyzed instantly poses no risk at all. Efficiency, once again, dictated evolution. Between November and May, when the water's warm, box jellyfish migrate toward the coasts. It is the breeding season. It is also the season when Queensland's most beautiful beaches become deadly. Special nets protect some swimming areas. Warning signs populate every beach entrance. Special lycra suits offer some protection. But every year, someone ignores the warnings. And every year, venom claims its price. The box jellyfish has a smaller but equally feared relative. The irukandji measures just 2.5 centimeters. It is almost invisible in the water. Its tentacles are so fine that victims often do not even feel the initial sting. Only 30 minutes later does the syndrome that bears its name begin. Irukandji syndrome is a medical nightmare. Unbearable back pain, violent nausea, muscle cramps that contort the body, profuse sweating, blood pressure that skyrockets to dangerous levels, and something more disturbing, an overwhelming sense of impending doom. Victims are convinced they are going to die, and they beg doctors to let them go. Scientists still do not fully understand why the venom causes this psychological terror, but it is so consistent that it has become one of the diagnostic symptoms of the syndrome. The irukandji rarely kills directly, but it can cause cerebral hemorrhages from extreme blood pressure. It can cause cardiac failure, and the psychological trauma persists long after the venom leaves the system. All this from a creature that fits in a spoonful of water. Moving away from jellyfish, the reef reveals other masters of venom. The stonefish rests motionless on the bottom, its body covered in algae and sediments that camouflage it perfectly. It looks like just another rock among thousands. A rock with eyes, and with 13 dorsal spines loaded with venom. For humans, the encounter is usually accidental. A barefoot step on what appears to be safe ground, a diver who leans on what appears to be a rock. The pain that follows is described as the worst imaginable. Some survivors have requested amputation just to stop it. The blue-ringed octopus fits in the palm of a hand. Its yellowish body is decorated with circles of brilliant electric blue that pulse and change intensity. When the octopus feels threatened, these rings illuminate with an almost neon glow. It is one of the most beautiful warning displays in the animal kingdom. It is also one of the last things anyone who ignores that warning will see. The blue-ringed octopus carries tetrodotoxin, the same neurotoxin that makes the Japanese pufferfish famous. But the octopus concentrates it at extraordinary levels. A single adult specimen contains enough venom to kill 26 adult humans in a matter of minutes. And there is no antidote. The bite is almost painless. 2 small cuts that barely bleed. The victim might not realize they have been envenomed until symptoms begin. First, numbness around the mouth. Then difficulty speaking. Then progressive paralysis that spreads throughout the body. The victim remains conscious while losing control of every muscle. Finally, the respiratory muscles become paralyzed without intervention. Death comes by asphyxiation. But there is a window of hope. If someone can provide artificial respiration until the venom is metabolized, the victim can survive without permanent effects. The problem is that this process can take hours. The octopus warns. The rings glow more intensely. If the warning is ignored, the octopus bites, not out of malice, out of survival. The sun begins to descend over the reef. Shadows lengthen among the corals. The ocean never sleeps, and venom never rests. But Australia keeps its most feared creatures not only in salt water. In the rivers that wind toward the sea, other forms of danger lurk. Ancient forms that recall an era when reptiles ruled the earth. Northern Australia guards the largest living predator on the planet. The Adelaide River winds through the mangroves of the Northern Territory. Its tea-coloured waters hide what moves below. The surface remains deceptively calm. Everything seems peaceful. Nothing is peaceful. The saltwater crocodile is not technically venomous, but in a continent where venom defines danger, this animal deserves its place. It represents the other face of Australian lethality. A brute force perfected over more than 200 million years. Crocodiles coexisted with dinosaurs. They watched them be born, dominate, and disappear. When the asteroid plunged the world into chaos, crocodiles survived. When the first humans arrived in Australia, crocodiles were waiting for them. They are absolute survivors, killing machines that time has been unable to improve. The Australian saltwater crocodile can reach 7 meters in length and exceed 1,000 kilograms. Its bite generates a force of more than 16,000 newtons. No living animal bites with more power, but the bite is only the beginning. Once its jaws close on the prey, the death roll begins. The reptile rotates its entire body, tearing off chunks of flesh with each turn. It is a brutal method. It is a method that has not changed in millions of years because it does not need to. The crocodile does not differentiate between a cow, a kangaroo, or a human. Everything is protein. They can remain submerged for more than an hour, waiting for the exact moment. Vigilance must be constant. Carelessness is paid with life. Australian rivers harbour another creature that illustrates the uniqueness of this continent. The platypus seems designed by a committee that could not agree. It has a duck's bill, a beaver's tail, and an otter's feet. It lays eggs but nurses its young, and the male is venomous. Male platypuses possess a spur on each hind leg connected to a venom gland. Platypus venom does not kill humans, but it causes pain, described as the most intense imaginable, surpassing even that of the stonefish. Victims report agony that can last weeks. Conventional painkillers, including morphine, are almost ineffective. The platypus is a reminder that in Australia, evolution took unique paths. A venomous mammal that lays eggs and detects electricity. Only this isolated continent could produce such a creature. Sunset paints the Adelaide's waters orange. Crocodiles emerge from their daytime lethargy. Shorebirds take flight toward their nighttime refuges, knowing that darkness belongs to others. The cycle continues as it has since before humans existed. Australia does not ask for understanding. It only demands respect. A respect that must extend toward the forests where other venomous creatures weave their traps. Australian forests harbour dangers that fall from above. Eucalyptus forests extend in all directions. Their characteristic aroma permeates the air. Sunlight filters through the leaves, creating shifting patterns on the ground. It is a landscape that seems pulled from a dream. Dreams can also be nightmares. Australia harbours approximately 10,000 spider species. The vast majority are harmless. But among those thousands, a handful has developed venoms of extraordinary potency. The Sydney funnel-web spider is considered the most dangerous spider in the world. Its scientific name, Atrax robustus, means robust one from Hades. This spider, with a shiny black body and fangs capable of piercing toenails, has caused terror for generations. Its venom contains a toxin that specifically affects the nervous system of primates, not insects, not dogs, primates. It is an evolutionary peculiarity that scientists still do not fully understand. The venom seems almost designed to kill humans, even though we were never part of its diet. A potentially fatal coincidence. The funnel web spider builds refuges under rocks, fallen logs, and suburban gardens. The problem is that Sydney expanded directly over its natural habitat. Millions of people live on top of one of the most venomous creatures on the planet. Encounters are inevitable. Male spiders are the most dangerous. During mating season, they wander in search of females. This behavior leads them to garages, basements, shoes left by the door. When they feel threatened, they do not flee. They raise their front legs, exposing fangs dripping with venom. Their threat posture is unmistakable. It is the final warning. Without treatment, envenomation can be fatal in 15 minutes for children. Before 1981, 13 people died from these bites. That year, the anti-venom was introduced. Since then, no deaths have been recorded, but the respect remains absolute. The Australian redback, known locally as redback, is probably the spider most commonly found in human environments. Its pea-sized black body bears a distinctive red marking on the abdomen. Their webs appear under garden furniture, inside mailboxes, beneath awnings. Where there are humans, there are redbacks. There is a story that repeats itself in Australia, the outdoor toilet. For generations, bathrooms were separate from the main house. Redbacks found in these dark spaces the perfect habitat. They built their webs under the seats. The problem arose when someone sat down. Bites to male genitalia were so common that a specific medical protocol was developed. This story explains why many older Australians still check under toilet seats. Survival habits are passed down from generation to generation. Australian bulldog ants are aggressive insects up to 4 centimeters long. They possess powerful mandibles and stingers loaded with venom that can cause severe allergic reactions. In Australia, even the apparently harmless deserves caution. Twilight descends over the forests. Spiders emerge from their refuges, beginning their nocturnal rounds. Darkness does not bring peace. It brings opportunity. The tropical forests of northern Queensland guard secrets among their shadows. Humidity hangs in the air like an invisible veil. The ground is carpeted with decomposing leaves that muffle any sound. In this twilight, something moves, unseen. The tiger snake is one of the most emblematic of Australia. Its name comes from the bands that cross its body. Where the tiger is muscular power, the tiger snake is concentrated venom and lethal precision. Its venom contains neurotoxins, coagulants, and myotoxins that simultaneously attack the nervous system, blood, and muscles. Without treatment, the mortality rate exceeds 40%. While other snakes flee from human disturbance, the tiger has learned to thrive in it. Wherever there are frogs or mice, it will find a home. The common death adder has evolved to camouflage perfectly with leaf litter. Its hunting strategy is the perfect ambush. It partially buries itself, leaving only its tail visible. The tip mimics the movement of a worm. Any lizard that investigates that movement finds death. The strike is one of the fastest in the serpent world. From resting position to bite, less than a fraction of a second. Before modern antivenoms, it had the highest mortality rate of any Australian snake. Sea snakes represent another chapter in the history of Australian venom. They have completely abandoned terrestrial life, evolving flattened tails like paddles. Australian waters harbour approximately 30 species of sea snakes. Belcher's sea snake is frequently cited as the most venomous in the world. Its venom exceeds even that of the inland taipan in toxicity. But reality is more complex. Sea snakes are generally docile. They do not see humans as threats. Their fangs are small, designed to grip slippery fish. When they bite defensively, they frequently do not inject venom. Most bites occur to fishermen who find them in their nets. The animal, entangled and stressed, bites in defense. The rule is simple: observe but do not touch. Australia harbors more venomous snakes than any other continent. Of the 100 most venomous snakes in the world, more than 60 inhabit this isolated territory. Monitor lizards, known locally as goannas, were long considered non-venomous. Recent research revealed something different. Monitors produce venom. It does not kill quickly, but it contains compounds that reduce blood coagulation. This discovery changed our understanding of venom evolution in reptiles. Night falls over the continent. The same snakes that hunted when dinosaurs walked the earth continue hunting today. Time has not improved these weapons because it was not necessary. But there are creatures in Australia whose lethality does not come from the venom they produce, but from the venoms they consume. There is a fundamental difference between producing venom and carrying it. Some creatures manufacture their own toxins. Others acquire them from their diet, accumulating them as chemical armor. The cane toad is not native to Australia. It was introduced in 1935 to control beetles in sugarcane plantations. Scientists believed it was an elegant solution. They were spectacularly wrong. The toad did not eat the beetles. Instead, it found in Australia a paradise without natural predators. It reproduced explosively, and it killed everything that tried to eat it. The cane toad's glands produce bufatoxins that affect the heart of any animal that ingests them. A dog that bites a toad can die in 15 minutes. A crocodile that swallows one can suffer cardiac arrest. The cane toad became an ecological disaster, but life finds ways to adapt. Some snakes have begun to evolve smaller heads, incapable of swallowing adult toads. Certain crows learn to flip the toads and eat only their internal organs, avoiding the venomous glands. Evolution is responding, although the process will take generations. The Australian pufferfish carries tetrodotoxin in its liver and skin. It is the same toxin as the blue-ringed octopus. Pufferfish do not produce it. They acquire it from bacteria in their diet. Inherited venom is unpredictable. Nature does not issue safety certificates. Beyond creatures that carry venom, Australia harbors plants with their own chemical defenses. The gympie tree is covered with microscopic hairs that penetrate the skin at the slightest contact. These hairs contain a toxin that causes pain, described as being burned with acid while being electrocuted simultaneously. The pain can last months, even years. A soldier in World War II supposedly committed suicide after using a leaf as toilet paper. Horses that brushed against the tree have thrown themselves off cliffs in their agony. The gympie has no eyes or brain. It cannot decide whether to attack. It simply exists, waiting for something careless to brush against it. Australian ticks can cause paralysis through toxins in their saliva. Additionally, their bite can trigger an allergy to red meat, a condition that lasts years. Australia demonstrates that danger comes in all shapes and sizes. It is not necessary to be large to be lethal. It is not necessary to have fangs to cause suffering. Evolution does not discriminate. It only selects what works. The sun begins to rise again. A new day dawns over this extraordinary continent. Danger remains, but so does beauty. There is a lesson in this continent for those willing to listen. Dawn reveals the east coast of Australia in all its magnificence. Waves break against white sand beaches. Cliffs glow in golden tones. It is a landscape that seems immutable, eternal, but nothing is immutable. Nothing is eternal. The 45 million years of isolation that turned Australia into a laboratory of venoms are coming to an end. Not through tectonic movements, but through much faster forces that operate in decades, not geological eras. Climate change is rewriting the rules of the Australian game. Coral reefs suffer bleaching events with increasing frequency. When water temperature rises by just a few degrees, the symbiotic algae that nourish corals die. The coral follows shortly after. The Great Barrier Reef has experienced 4 massive bleaching events in the last 8 years. Entire sections that took thousands of years to form have disappeared in months. Stonefish need corals for camouflage. Blue-ringed octopuses nest in coral crevices. Without crevices, there is no reproduction. Each link in the chain affects the next. On land, forest fires increase in frequency and intensity. The season of 2019 and 2020 burned more than 18 million hectares, killing an estimated 3 billion animals. When fire is so extensive that there is no refuge or escape, even the most adapted animals succumb. Sea snakes face their own crisis. Rising sea levels alter their breeding grounds. Plastic pollution fills their territories. Fishing nets trap them by the thousands each year. The most lethal venom on the planet cannot protect against trawling nets. Crocodiles, survivors of extinctions that erased the dinosaurs, face threats they cannot bite. Eggs depend on specific temperatures to determine the sex of hatchlings. Higher temperatures produce more males. Females are becoming scarce. The platypus suffers from the degradation of the rivers where it lives. This animal that has existed for more than 100 million years now appears on lists of threatened species. But there are reasons for more than despair. Australia has developed innovative conservation programs. Marine reserves protect sections of the reef. Scientists work on techniques to make corals more resistant. Australians have learned to coexist with venom. Now they must learn to protect it, because venom fulfills irreplaceable ecological functions. Snakes control rodent populations. Spiders keep insects in check. Without venom, balance breaks down. Scientists are discovering that these venoms can save lives. Components of snake venom are used in blood pressure medications. Toxins from cone snails have given rise to revolutionary painkillers. What kills can also heal. Australia is a system in fragile balance. Each venomous species depends on conditions that took millions of years to form. The most lethal venom on the planet cannot protect these creatures from the greatest threat they have ever faced. Preserving Australia is not just protecting a dangerous territory. It is conserving an unrepeatable chapter in the evolutionary history of Earth. Each snake that goes extinct takes with it millions of years of evolutionary refinement. Each jellyfish that disappears eliminates possible compounds that could have cured diseases. Each spider that loses its habitat is a unique biological solution that can never be recreated. Australian venom is not a threat we should eliminate. It is a treasure we must protect. The sun rises fully over the continent. Its rays illuminate beaches where transparent jellyfish drift with the tides. They warm rocks where snakes awaken from their lethargy. Australia awakens to another day of extreme beauty and constant danger. This is the continent that evolved in isolation, the territory where venom became the universal language of survival, the place where every creature tells a story of adaptation written in toxins. Here, respect is not optional. It is survival. And survival, both of these creatures and of our planet, depends on the decisions we make today. If you felt the power of this journey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next stories of nature in its purest state. Until next time.